The NFL season is in its final throes, and the weather this past month or so has been doing its best to throw a spanner in the works of teams who are trying to reach the Super Bowl. One game in particular was adversely affected by the weather when the New England Patriots visited their New York rivals, the Buffalo Bills. Today, we're discussing the bizarre snow globe-like scenes, so stay with us. First up, what happened? Fans and players alike, especially in the state of New York, are used to a little rough weather now and again, but the Highmark Stadium in Buffalo saw crazy scenes last month as the two teams kicked off in freezing temperatures and gale force winds. The blizzard-like conditions were so bad that the game started in -5 degrees Celsius temperatures, and the opening kickoff ended up in the 10th row, sailing well clear of the end zone. It was evident even before kickoff that conditions were going to be tricky. As kickers practicing field goals were seeing efforts end up well wide of their intended targets. In case the temperatures and wind wasn't enough, the field was covered in a nice dusting of snow a couple of hours before kickoff, and one of the orange flags on the goalpost was even ripped off clean. It was no better for the ESPN commentary team. The broadcasters were nearly blown from their pitch side chairs, whilst one of the company's cameras was even completely dislodged. The weather was nice enough to ease up snow-wise when kickoff finally rolled around, but the aforementioned wind had another trick up its sleeve when the ball was caught up and ended up in the crowd after the opening kickoff. It was a sign of things to come as the conditions never improved throughout the game, accounting for one of the more bizarre games we've seen in the NFL in recent years. What did you make of the conditions? How did the game end then? Stick around to find out. Well as the amusing, for some, weather conditions, there was also a game of football to be played. The players had to get to grips with the 70-kilometer-per-hour plus winds, as well as having to figure out how to overcompensate for the conditions so their passes wouldn't get caught up in said wind and sail out of play. In one funny incident, a punt from New England player Jake Bailey ended up a mere 15 yards away from where it had started after getting caught up in the wind. It ended up flying sideways and ultimately ended up out of bounds. Bailey was visibly perplexed, and the Bills fans particularly enjoyed the calamitous situation. Bailey needn't have worried, however. The New England's fine form continued, coming out on top in a 14-10 victory. Damian Harris scored the pick of the touchdowns, running home from more than 60 yards. It wasn't the best of nights for quarterbacks, obviously, and Mac Jones only attempted 3 passes all night, which is more or less unheard of. Miles Bryant made sure of the win by batting down Josh Allen's pass on the goal line after Nick Folk had hit 2 field goals, which should qualify him for a medal of some sort in those conditions. The Patriots, having won their 7th game in a row, looked very good, and Harris in particular was very impressive, scoring some big numbers. He finished the game with 111 yards rushing and his previously mentioned touchdown. What did you think of the Patriots' performance? More NFL news now, starting with the Colts' shocking loss to the Jaguars. Indianapolis Colts were thoroughly embarrassed Sunday afternoon, January 9th, having been battered 26-11 in Jacksonville. If you know nothing about football, you would hardly have believed the Jaguars were 2-14 this season and had only scored 20 points or more on one occasion this season. Indianapolis had been in control of their own destiny before kickoff and could have secured their place in the playoffs with a win against a poor, underperforming Jaguars team this season, but it wasn't to be. The Steelers' win over the Baltimore Ravens added insult to injury and meant that the Colts were dumped out, and they only really have themselves to blame. Having gone into the weekend winning 8 out of their last 10, coach Frank Reich was stumped as to what happened on Sunday. He said, "I never expected to be sitting here having this moment right now. Not like this. We had a good week of practice. We had good preparation all week long. Felt good energy the whole week, every day, every meeting. We felt like we had 3 good plans. We felt like the players were dialed in. We just didn't get it done today. We just didn't get it done, coaching or playing." The Colts struggled all afternoon to move the ball, and will probably look at their early season form when analyzing their season. Sometimes anomalies like this particular game happen in professional sports, and you just have to pick yourself up and go again, right? Who are you backing for the Super Bowl? Some news from Mr. Football next. Tom Brady joins us. Stay tuned. Another weekend of football, another Tom Brady record. The 44-year-old continues to defy science and keeps the milestones coming. And this weekend, he became the second player in the history of the game to throw 5,000 yards in multiple seasons, and he also became the oldest player to hit the 5,000-point mark against the Panthers on Sunday. After hitting 5,000 back in 2011, when playing with the team he is synonymous with, the New England Patriots, he did it again this season, in his second year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He has proven again that age is just a number, and the only player to do it more times than Brady is Drew Brees, who racked up 5,000+ yards in an incredible 5 seasons. Unbelievable. Brady's latest 5,000-yard season marks only the 13th time this landmark has ever been achieved, with Brady and Brees sharing 7 of them. Brady threw his 40th touchdown on the season against the Panthers, and his lordship and Brees are the only 2 guys to hit this landmark in back-to-back seasons, which just shows you how well the man is still performing deep into his 40s. He bagged numbers 41 and 42 for the season with passes to Le'Veon Bell and Mike Evans. The man is simply a master of this game. What's your favorite Brady moment from his career? Let us know below. Another record breaker is with us next. Stay with us to find out who. Some players just have that knack for being able to catch any sort of pass, and one player who has that knack in abundance is Miami Dolphins wide receiver Jalen Waddle. This past weekend, the youngster took his record this season to 102 catches and in the process set a new record for a rookie season. Having already caught 2 passes earlier in the game against the Patriots, Waddle collected a 5-yard snag in the third quarter to set a new record and set tongues wagging about his potential. The previous rookie record was held by Anquan Boldin of the Arizona Cardinals back in 2003, who Waddle joined as the only other rookie to exceed the 100-catch mark in a single season. Bravo, sir! As well as making rookie history, there was also a slice of Dolphins history for the wide receiver, becoming only the second Dolphins receiver to catch more than 100 passes in a solitary season. The other being Jarvis Landry, who smashed that 100-catch mark twice in 2015 and 2017. Waddle is clearly benefiting from playing with QB Tua Tagovailoa, whom he played with in Alabama, and their relationship has seemingly not missed a beat. Whether or not he will be recognized as Rookie of the Year come the end of the season is yet to be seen. But one thing is for sure, the Dolphins have a hell of a player on their hands. What has been Waddle's best catch this season? And finally, some news out of Minnesota. Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer was in no mood to discuss his future in the Twin Cities this past weekend as his team closed out their season with a 31-17 win over rivals, the Chicago Bears. When asked about whether or not he had been involved in any discussions with the front office about his prospects of leading the team next season, Zimmer replied, "I haven't heard anything about my job status." He was then pressed about whether or not he thought the Bears game might have been his final one in charge, to which he defiantly replied that it wasn't his choice, nor was it his decision. The Vikings have now missed the postseason for the second year in a row, and there's been some dissent from fans up in Minnesota as they have long been starved of a serious run at the Super Bowl. What do you make of Zimmer's comments, and who would you replace him with should he be given his marching orders? Let us know below. As always, thank you for tuning in today, and remember to stop by next time for some more fun reveals. Also, why not do us a solid and share this video with any NFL-loving friends of yours? Bye, guys.